Broadcasting live from the IRSMedic studios, it's Parental Advisory.
Live today, we have a great topic. I'm going to say it.
Yep.
The secret drug addictions of the Third Reich.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, the only thing is, it's actually not all that secret, but it is. Because it didn't take too much interneting to find out what the hell was going on with Hitler.
Yeah, there was extensive articles about this.
My point is more like, why isn't this taught more? That is, all these, I mean, I've watched every friggin' Hitler thing on History Channel, every stupid World War II movie you could imagine. But no one ever talks about this, the thing that is like, oh, well, that kind of explains it all, doesn't it?
It's fascinating.
Hitler was a meth head.
Yes, he was.
That explains
A lot.
a lot.
A lot.
So why don't we do this? Well, hey, Claudine, can you just tell me a little bit about what meth is?
Okay, so I didn't know a lot about meth. Yes, my drug use has not been that extensive, apparently. So I wanted to get some descriptions from people that have actually done it. What does it feel like? And some of the descriptions said it starts as a near spiritual experience, a gift bestowed by a chemical god, a healer of long festering wounds and insecurities, an enhancer of all that is good. You're braver, you're smarter, and sexier than ever before.
Oh my God, I want that.
I know. When I read it, I was like,
Well, okay.
maybe we could dabble in it and not get
So-
addicted.
So what can we do to limit the bad side? Because there's that bad side. Because, geez, no
So-
wonder.
Your brain kicks into high gear and thoughts come fast with razor-sharp focus. The surrounding world captured in vivid detail and overflowing with brand new possibilities, euphoria. It's like a flash of good, tingly feeling throughout your whole body. You don't feel tired. You don't feel hungry. You don't feel in pain. You're warm and comfortable. Fantastic.
And it lasts for a few hours.
Yes.
You're not talking 30 seconds.
No.
You're talking a few hours.
Yeah.
So I
You're
think it's for someone to do meth, there's a reason why.
Exactly.
They're just not doing it to say, well, I want to look like I'm 7 years old when I'm 35. That's not.
My teeth look too good right now. They're just really, really white.
That's not why. It's that part. That part that is just so awesome.
Yep.
That says, yeah, okay, let's go for it. But there's some bad news to it.
There
isn't
is.
it?
I mean, besides the looking like you're 70, it says that kind of high can't last.
Oh.
You start to talk about the things that piss you off or the things that go wrong as if there's some actual plot out to get you. So that explains a little bit with Hitler.
Okay, continue.
All the other countries are out to get me. When the drug is discontinued, the crash is brutal, the high quickly replaced by a state of bottomless depression and hopelessness. Unlike heroin and cocaine, where this agonizing afterparty is relatively short, when it comes to methamphetamine, there's often a legitimate fear that the depression will last forever. So you're coming down, and what's the best way to feel euphoric again? I'm going to do some more meth. I felt great a few hours ago.
What an incredible trap. You go from feeling like Superman, and I mean, it seems like Superman.
Superman on meth.
Superman, yeah, right. He's just like Superman deciding to take meth. That's you.
Yeah.
And then you go to, I just would imagine the lowest of the low, just sort of maybe crawling towards a gutter, hoping the gutter will accept you.
Exactly.
That kind of explains a lot, as you look through the history of the Third Reich about how they acted so boldly with such sincerity. And, the Third Reich, the Nazi Party never commanded more than 32% popularity.
That's amazing.
Yet, with their boldness, they took a country over and held it hostage. And I think that's one of the things people don't understand about Germany, that nobody really wanted it, but that Hitler was so good and had so much meth, and his minions had so much meth,
Yep.
they were able to create more power than they actually had. And I think the way that I look at it, that the analogy I would look at is, you're getting on a bus, and the bus driver seems okay, and now he's on meth and he's driving anywhere crazy. You really don't want this guy to be your bus driver, but you really don't have a choice. If you jump out, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to kill him, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing most people can do except wait for the crash.
Go along with the ride.
Until it ends horribly.
Yep. It's like, when you have a couple drinks and you're like, I can take on the world. I could literally rule the world.
Right.
So you've got Hitler on meth. And he was like, I legitimately can rule the world. Yes.
I think I know what beer muscles are like.
Yes.
I do. Usually, involves me and my younger brother getting into some wrestling match, something like that after a stag party. But, we tire out quickly.
Yes.
And that lasted for, 35 seconds if we're lucky. Okay, yep, there it is. We proved something. We're tired. Let's stop this.
Mm-hmm.
But with meth, you don't really get tired.
Nope.
Until it ends. Now, they just didn't use meth. Germany didn't use meth in World War II. They used some other things, right?
It was, so Hitler hated other drugs. He hated cocaine. He hated opium, morphine. He condemned them as being Jewish. Oh, those are the Jewish drugs. I don't understand, but it's Hitler. I don't pretend I want to. So he had this personal physician named Theodor Morell, and this guy was crazy. He gave Hitler uppers, downers, anything and everything. So he created a new meth-based drug manufactured from 1937 on by the Nazis, and it was called Pervitin, which I think is a fantastic name for a drug. So, he was giving Hitler, anything he wanted. He would give him stimulants, and then he would need downers, and then he would need uppers, and he would need downers. And this physician just handed him anything and everything that he could need. And they also gave this stimulant to the armies. So the armies were up for days at a time, kicking ass. They were kicking ass. Imagine being on meth and fighting. Like, yes.
That is frightening.
We win.
I think the our perspective of the European theater was, we're going to fight the Germans, but it's not like as bad as fighting the Japanese who were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, you had Germans on meth.
Yep.
Fighting like that. Pretty horrific, I think, and bold.
Yeah.
And it was. And it did, even though it was it was known what was going to happen, but they fought to the death.
Yeah.
And
you figure too, so you're out fighting a war. It's got to be uncomfortable, right? So you don't have the best conditions that you're living in. You're seeing probably some pretty horrific things that you're witnessing. Your food, water, I mean, you've got all that stuff, but it's just not a great living situation. Where are you going to the bathroom? You're hanging out with guys all the time, killing people. So, hey, guys, you know what? Take these pills. It'll not only keep you awake for like 3 days at a time, but it's going to take some of the sting out of the war. Makes perfect sense. The soldiers were like, we need more of that Pervitin, please.
And you probably know what the down is like. You probably know what the down is like. And the down isn't a lot of fun, and you wish you were dead. And if I could apply an analogy that happened to me quite recently, this was, I think, 3 weeks ago. I used to ride bikes competitively.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped, rode my bikes every now and then I saw an advertisement for a Greater New Haven bike race around the green. I said, let me try it. Let me go do it. I got about 40 pounds over where I was during my race weight, and I trained probably something about 4 hours.
Okay. The day of the race?
No, not the day, but the preceding 3 days.
No,
3 days, yeah. So I have these 3 hours under my belt. And I started, and I was like, well, it's a flat race, so it shouldn't be that bad. These races, if they're flat, you can kind of hang in there. Maybe, people make some dumb moves. You can whip out an okay finish at the end. So I start the race. I look around, and I realized how heavy I was looking at everyone else. And there were ex-national champions in the field.
Jeez.
And then the guys who were going to be the next champions were also in the field.
And then you?
And I'm like, okay, let me just try to see if I hang on here. Okay. And so the race started, and I realized in about 30 seconds, this is going to be bad. This is not going to be bad.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, I said, this is really bad. It's a 4-corner race, meaning for every 4 corners, if you're not the first one through, you're probably on your brakes. And if you're on your brakes, now you have to accelerate after the turn. So you now, while the people more in front or the people who know how to handle the corners, they're not wearing themselves off. They're staying off the brakes. So they're going around, and they're in a better physical condition. So if they had to do what I had to do, it would be better for them. But what I am having to do, because I'm totally haven't been racing in a while, I can't handle these cobbly New Haven corners with potholes and everything. I'm on my brakes. Then I try to accelerate to catch up for them for the next one so I can go on my brake, accelerate. So I'm working at like 3 times the effort as these guys who are actually fit. And so, yeah, around the 5th turn is where I sort of like, yeah, I'm just gonna not try to keep up with them. And my mind turned to what is a gracious way out of this endeavor that I would like to say it was a drunken boast, but no, you can do a lot of stupid things sober. You really can. So I was looking for a way out of this. And as the corners, the thing that was killing me was the corners because I was slowing down for them. So I said to myself, well, you know what? Why don't I go all out in the corners? Because if I'm crash, then I'm done. Right?
The ambulance ride would be much easier.
That's what I'm thinking. So finally, after 5 laps, I'm banging through these corners saying, please take me out. This pain is too much. And so I wonder if the same thing is true for somebody on meth fighting a war.
Right.
Kill me because I can't handle it down.
Oh.
Now that's a ferocious fighter.
That is. It's the scariest kind of fighter there is.
Give me meth or give me death.
All right, so quick break. After the break, we'll tell you a great story about Hitler, a meth-fueled rant that pretty famous right after this.
Hi, this is Anthony Parent of Parent and Wynn LLP, and this is just a sampling of some of the webinars we produce that are absolutely free on our website. On September 25th, we recorded a webinar, What to Do When Your Offshore Bank is on the Blacklisted List. That is, the Department of Justice, or IRS, said your bank is a bad boy, and things might not be looking all that positive to you. Well, there is good news. Just check out this video to see what you can do about it. Also, we discuss what to do about unfiled tax returns. Did you know there's something like 1 million people with unfiled tax returns? So there's things you can certainly do about it and ways to approach it. Lastly, I want to talk about the 2015 Federal Tax Amnesty webinar. And this is something we have for anybody with unfiled taxes, unreported income, foreign or domestic. If you have a suggestion for a topic you would like to discuss, please contact info@IRSMedic.
And we're back with Parental Advisory. We're talking about the secret drug addictions of the Third Reich. So we were talking about Hitler on meth or Pervitin, which is a methamphetamine-based drug. And that's not just, the only thing he was taking. He was taking sedatives. He was taking uppers and downers. By the end, it was of 1943, they're saying he was basically dependent on these drugs. So it was constant. There was no, I'm going to have a day off of drugs. It wasn't, I'm just going to do drugs on Friday and Saturday, and then Monday I'm getting clean. It was every day. So there was a story about Mussolini, summer of 1943, and Mussolini really was thinking about pulling out of the alliance with Nazi Germany. He was like, you know what, I don't think this is a great idea anymore. I think maybe we want out. Hitler got wind of this, took some meth, all right, which gives you, again, the razor sharp focus with thoughts coming fast. Okay, so he had this meeting with Mussolini. 2 hours he sat there and ranted at Mussolini, 2 hours straight, just nonstop, ranting about why Mussolini needed to stay in the alliance. And by the end, Mussolini was like, Oh, that's, I think that will stand. That's a really good point you had there. So it was just a really sort of fascinating story about something that could have changed the course of the war drastically. But here's Hitler, like, taking some meth, fighting the good fight.
We'll see about that. You're going to stay with us. One of the things people might not know is that Mussolini was Hitler's mentor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the Italians won World War I. They
Right.
were on the winning side. And what did Italy get? Nothing. So that's what sort of Mussolini came into power to say, what the hell, you guys?
Yeah.
We won and we get nothing. And so that's where he started bringing in together all the nationalists, this pride. We're Italians, God damn it. And we deserve a little bit more. And so people saying, yeah, we're treated like garbage by the rest of the world. We're going to agree with you. We want you to start leading us. Hitler wrote fan letters. I mean, Hitler was a fanboy of epic proportions to Mussolini.
Wow.
And so something must changed in there where he goes to his mentor.
His mentor.
You're not going to leave me. I mean, maybe he used emotional blackmail instead. I thought we were something, Mussolini, but
All the letters we wrote.
we've read it. I mean, look, I was your biggest supporter. Maybe it wasn't the rant that he thought, or he started that, then he ranted.
Yes. Well, maybe that was the down part of the
Right,
meth.
he's sort of
Yeah, he went
going
from, like-
through. Now let's build it back up. Now let's go see the future of us back together on top. You and me, baby, all the way.
We will literally rule the world.
We will do it.
What I thought was also pretty funny is that they didn't want the German housewives to feel left out of this Pervitin. So it was pretty much like coffee. What they started doing was they would put it in chocolate bars for the German housewives. So when they were at home, people off fighting the war, they're a little scared. They want to keep people under their thumb. You know what? Let's give them some Pervitin laced chocolate. So the housewives got to partake as well. It was to keep the whole country in line, it seems like.
I have an idea.
Yes.
I have some cousins who live in Leipzig, and there's a lot of flea markets there, and you can buy a lot of things that normally you're not allowed to buy. A lot of the Third Reich memorabilia, and actually a lot of the Third Reich memorabilia was when the plant shut down, they restarted them because there was such a demand for souvenirs. A lot of the stuff was made after the war,
Yeah.
but Americans wanted souvenirs of a Third Reich flag or whatever. However, they told me there's a lot of weird things there. So what I'm going to have them take a look out for is, can you try to find me some chocolate made about 1943, 44? What? Make some chocolate chip cookies.
Yes. Yep.
That might be a hot idea we have there.
That could be cool. So the German army had, like I said, they had been taking it. And before they advanced on France in the spring in 1940, they ordered 35 million tablets of it. And the story is that they kicked France's ass. Like, everyone was like, how the hell did they just kick their ass so fast? Because they didn't need to sleep. They were awake for 3 and 4 days at a time on these pills. But yeah, everyone was sort of astounded. Like, well, we thought we might maybe win. No, France got their asses handed to them.
And there's really no doping authority to go to. We're going to have to take away your yellow jersey for invading France.
What's-
You were found to have methamphetamine in your pee.
Oh, man. It's funny you say that because the British and Americans found out about the German drugs eventually, and they started taking drugs to keep up with, quote, those crazed German soldiers. So they eventually were, it was like Lance Armstrong.
Hey, he had to keep up with Jan Ulrich.
Yeah.
German cheating out, you know.
Shit, everybody's doing it.
Hey, look,
It'll take
They're
it.
just mad that we out-cheated the cheaters. Just saying.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny as well. And now to end Hitler's last days, he had 9 injections of a drug called Vitamulin, which contained methamphetamine, during his final days in his bunker. So his physician was with him for part of that time. And yeah, he just kept him doped up till the very end. He was like Michael Jackson, doped up to the end.
Michael Jackson's doctor seems really quite competent. I mean, too bad you couldn't get this guy in the stand, right? Well, Hitler was having a little bit too much meth, so we needed to bring him down with something more meth. Wow.
Yep. So that is the secret addictions of the Third Reich. And what we want to talk about next is maybe the secret drug addictions of our own government.
Of our own government, and why, you know what? We are fighting. World War II was the first war on drugs. But that's not to say drugs are illegal drugs are impacting our daily lives right now. We're going to talk about those in our next bit.
Coming up tomorrow at 11 on Parental Advisory, selling success. Can you truly buy success instead of earning it? Be sure to visit our Facebook page to follow up and submit story ideas. And thanks to our sponsor, IRSMedic, real tax attorneys for tough tax problems. Visit IRSMedic.com for the latest news on the disaster that is the U.S. tax code. And we are back with Parental Advisory, talking about secret drug addictions of our very own government.
Can I just start with a little personal story?
Sure.
Of mine, a personal
Maybe.
story. I'm going to change some names to protect the innocent. One of the greatest things about doing what I do, helping people with tax problems, is I see how they get into them. And there's always a story. And there's always a story that is going to blow you away. And this is a client who is an ex-state representative, and I won't mention the state. We represent people from all across the globe, and so this is one gentleman who we hit it off, and he felt comfortable confiding into me about how he got into these tax problems that he did.
Yep.
He says, well, I'm in recovery now. I said, okay. For what? Everything. Yeah, just basically everything. I said, okay. So I know you're up to something else now, you're running a bed and breakfast or something like that, but I know before you were a state legislature. He goes, oh yeah, that's why I am not doing it anymore, and that's why I'm in recovery. I said, oh really? So what was it like? Well, let me tell you about my day. Let me just tell you about any day. It's every day is the same day.
Okay.
You get up around 11 o'clock and you call the Capitol Police. Capitol Police come, they pick you up, and they bring you in. And there's a reason why they're bringing you in, and they're very nice. Oh, hi, how you doing? They bring you in, stop for coffee on the way. They drop you off right in front of the Capitol building.
Okay.
You go in around. You probably had a little bit of some sort of a drink just to, ease into the day.
Hair of the dog?
Hair of the dog. And you would not, he told me there was a beautiful lunch facility there at the Capitol, but he decided to opt out because it didn't serve alcohol. So he would go across the street to one of the more famous places where people meet, where they would have alcohol, and he'd probably get about 2 or 3. He'd meet with various lobbyists and then people who were trying to get his support for something. After lunch, they would head over, take their votes, do whatever it is, sit through the whole thing. And I would imagine this was probably the worst part of his day, where he has to sit still and not have access to, anything. Maybe there's a bathroom break where he's going to do something. Who knows, a little something. Probably a little bit more than a nip based on based on what he was said later on. Session would end around 6:30. He would then head over to one of the biggest bars near the state capitol, and the lobbyists who knew him invited him right over. They had his drinks ready for him, and he started pounding. And they started saying, okay, this is why we want you to pass this law. This is what we really think is good. Here is this. Here is this. Hey, why don't we get something to eat? They go have a great dinner. And now he's starting to drink more, and now he's getting here's a seasoned alcoholic.
Okay.
Here's somebody who could certainly hold his booze, but it was so much he couldn't quite do it. So the lobbyists would say, well, why don't we just go in the bathroom, take a little break, and do a little coke.
Oh, okay.
Did a little coke, came back. He was raring to go. Do a couple more hours of serious drinking.
So really great circumstances to make major decisions.
Make major decisions.
Great, that affect the country.
And so, luckily it was 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and he would the Capitol Police would come and drive him home.
Jeez.
And, the Capitol Police probably knew he was shit-faced, doing coke, doing all this. They didn't want to say anything because here are guys who are 50 years old. They got 10 years left to retirement.
Right.
This is a great gig. You're babysitting drunks. You're not going to get shot at.
Probably getting paid pretty well.
Yeah. And the time, right, you're paid for this, so it's fine. And so that went on for years. He got reelected several times.
Wow.
And he could go on forever. The only thing that couldn't go on was his body. And then just the whole complete lie about it. So he could have kept that going and he was making money.
Oh, yeah.
Time of his life, but he stopped it all. And he worked, started like some bed and breakfast and made like $100 a week. He says, but I couldn't just do it anymore. And I said, do you think you could ever run for office? He goes, absolutely not. It is the most corrupt, drug-fueled system everywhere. I go, well, it can't be everybody. He says, well, not everybody was to my degree. There were a lot that were,
Yep.
and there are a lot that are worse. But everybody to some degree is seriously abusing drugs. And all those drugs are paid for by lobbyists. That's how you get your things done. Wow. And when you think about it, how much does it really take to pay off a representative?
Right.
How much are drinks really going to cost? How much is a meal really going to cost? You didn't have to do this year round. You only had to do it when that was coming up. For a month or so, you have to give, all right, so you're going to buy this guy, $400 worth of food and booze, maybe a couple hits a blow a night, $600, 600, so $2,400. So basically for $20,000, you just bought a boat. You just bought a vote right there for so cheap. In his life, and it took him to say, this is horrible. I'm destroying myself for what?
Yep.
But so many people love the limelight, and he's one who was able to walk away from the limelight.
Yeah, I was just thinking it must, I'm sure a lot of people don't get out. They just never get out.
And the thing is, these guys can pull together. They always can pull together to be when that TV, because I've seen him on TV when he's totally, you wouldn't know.
No kidding.
You wouldn't know.
Wow.
Yeah, he was able to pass it off.
That is like a professional alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real bad. And so that's just one of the things where the people are supposed to get a say, right?
Right.
And I mean, that was just in a state. That's just a state legislature. What happens in D.C.?
Can you imagine? D.C. must be, it's corrupt. Like everybody in the back of their mind knows the government's pretty corrupt, but hey, it's working okay, sort of. And I don't want to be the guy to stand up and be like, I fight this government. But because it's all sort of working. But to know it's that corrupt, it just makes you feel dirty.
And when you're trying to get a tax code through, right?
Yeah.
Picture yourself in your most sober mind.
Okay.
Try.
Okay.
Imagine 4 hours ago, Claudine.
Okay.
Imagine yourself in your most sober mind, and I'm trying to present. This is the tax code section I want you to do to replace this here.
Yep.
Okay, this is what it's going to do. It's going to adjust what we're going to do is we're going to allow mark-to-market computations of your PFIC gains, so that you don't have to recapture losses from. Now we're just going to string things together. Yeah, right. So basically, the idea is like, what the hell are you talking about? I have no idea.
Yep.
And you're jamming this in front of somebody who's just drunk. So we got your vote on this, right?
Let me sign right there.
Yeah, right there.
That's
You got
fantastic.
you better believe it. I'm 100% on board. And then the next morning, right, when they're all like, sort of like, whoa, what happened? The lobbyist comes up. Got your vote, right? Got your vote. Yeah. I said yes. I remember saying that. I have no idea what the rest is. And so those are how laws are made. And so I think that maybe, because we have World War II as a force of war on drugs. We have a government on drugs right now.
Yep.
And a government on drugs that causes a lot of wars. So wouldn't a great proposal be that we start drug testing Congress people? Wow. And that say, hey, I know you're all ready to sign this bill. Just before you do, have a seat.
Can you just take this little cup?
Have a seat. We just want to check to see, what you're on and come up with everything on. Before you make this, before you create a law that could send somebody to prison, we just want to make sure you're not effed up beyond all belief.
That would be amazing. Everyone's always touting that we have to drug test the people on welfare.
Right.
How about the people making the laws?
Right. And the student athletes. Oh, the kid playing lacrosse might have had a joint.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a danger. Meanwhile, the people in charge of everything are the biggest drug addicts in the world. They all are. Booze. And then Coke when you had too much booze. That's what goes on.
So now what?
I don't know. Nothing will change, I guess. Nothing will change. And that's why, but I think that's why, on our episode that we had Friday about jury nullification.
Yep.
Here's the other aspect about it. When you're confronted with a violation somebody did of something that's not a crime, when it's that malum prohibitum crime, where it's a regulatory crime,
yep,
understand that the person who wrote that law was probably a criminal.
Fantastic.
So not guilty.
Not guilty and pass that law. All right. So tomorrow on Parental Advisory, 11 a.m., we will talk about selling success.
You and I both have experience with that.
We do.
We both have bought into success programs, and yet we're successful.
But was it because of the program or because we're just awesome badasses?
We're awesome badasses.
All right. That's tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Yeah, it's serious. Watch it. It'll be worth it.
Parental Advisory. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining Parental Advisory, hosted by Anthony Parent, produced by Claudine Gindel, that's me, engineered by Chris Chen. For more podcasts, visit our website at parentaladvisoryshow.com and like us on Facebook to submit story ideas. We'd like to thank our sponsors, IRSMedic.com, the law offices of Parent, and Wynn, LLP, real tax attorneys for tough tax problems.